All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. Welcome to our webinar, Path to Better Supplier Performance, Improve Customer On-Time Delivery, and Hit Production Goals. I'm really excited for you all to hear directly from a SourceDay and Epicor customer. Should be a great 30 minutes. We're going to try to keep this on schedule. Also, if you have questions and you haven't used this interface before, there's a Q&A section, so please drop your questions in that inbox. We'll answer them throughout. We'll save them for the end as well. We have plenty of time at the end for Q&A, so please drop your questions in there. All right, so as far as introductions, I'm Colby Young, VP of Alliances. I've been with SourceDay for about 10 years, and over those 10 years, I've been helping manufacturers and partners really evaluate supply chain automation needs and implement automation technology to help improve supply chain efficiencies and improve business operations. But I'm most excited to have Time Manufacturing with us today and Raul Gutierrez, Strategic Procurement Manager, to speak towards their experience, their success on SourceDay. So Raul, please, quick introduction of yourself and Time Manufacturing.
Yeah, my name is Raul Gutierrez. I am the Strategic Procurement Manager of one of the commodities. I have been with the company since February of last year, so a little, 1 year and 10 months. It has been a very good experience. This is my first time dealing with Epicor, and this is my first time dealing with SourceDay.
Great. And how long has your career been in supply chain, Raul?
My supply chain career has been at least 30 years, in different areas, master scheduling, even customer service, transportation, logistics, and lately more related to procurement and purchasing.
And tell us a little bit about Time. What does Time Manufacturing do?
Time Manufacturing is a company, and it can be also related to a different company called Versalift. So we're together. And Time Manufacturing produces what is called a lift truck. And I'm going to show you here. This is a lift truck or a bucket truck. We do the lift that moves the mechanism up or down, and it is mainly used by telecommunication companies that want to reach out to cables to fix problems, or cities that want to do some repairs on the electrical cable lines.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Raul. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. So quick agenda for everyone. We're going to first talk about the challenge that Time and Raul was faced with at pre-SourceDay that they were looking to solve, why they partnered with SourceDay. We're going to talk about MRP and production accuracy. Hopefully many of y'all are excited to learn about that, how Time and Raul have figured that out, and many of you looking to get smarter and more accurate there. The financial impacts on the business, and a high-level overview of SourceDay. And like I said, plenty of time for Q&A, so please drop those questions in there if you have them throughout today's webinar. Before we get into the content, I want to make sure you all know that SourceDay is now an official Epicor ISV partner. We signed our partnership in May of 2025, but we've been supporting Epicor clients for more than 6 years. And Epicor has dabbled with some portals here and there, and they ultimately reached out to us after seeing our success with Epicor customers like Time for the last 6 years, and wanted to partner with us to be their go-to partner for Supplier Portal. So that partnership signed in May. We went to Insights, and it's been 6 months of really great success supporting Epicor clients adopt SourceDay. One of the main reasons that Epicor wanted to partner with us is our ability to really have figured out supplier adoption. I'll talk more about that at the end of the webinar. Raul's going to hit on that a little bit too, but wanted to make sure you all know if you have questions about our partnership, drop them in the Q&A. I can answer those. But now let's get into the fun part, the content. So Raul, you've had 30 years of supply chain and procurement experience, such a great tenure and history in that. Can you talk to us a little bit about kind of that old school way of managing purchase orders from the time they're cut in the ERP until they're received, and the risk that can put on downstream supply chain operations?
Yes, of course. So we used to run MRP here twice a week on Saturdays and Wednesdays. So the buyers have the ability during the week to review all the suggestions coming from the MRP process, and analyze what was the demand and supply situation for every single part. We're talking about between 5,000 and 10,000 parts, mainly purchase parts. Based on the analysis, the buyer was required to create the PO, get a copy of the PO, email the PO to the supplier, with the idea of expecting some kind of a confirmation from the supplier about the price, about the quantity, and about the due date. Okay, we had problems where that answer back from the suppliers didn't arrive, and we didn't know if the supplier really got the email confirming our PO, or if they never the email didn't reach out to them. So we had to spend a lot of time chasing suppliers just to make sure that the information got to them, or sometimes we forgot about that and we were expecting a PO arriving, and then suddenly we got the news from the supplier saying that they didn't get the PO, and we needed to wait one more time, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, maybe 12 weeks, sorry, to get the material. One of the main efforts that the company is doing is the three-way match. From an invoicing point of view, we needed to know that the invoice matches what we receive, and that the invoice also matches the price on the PO. Since there are many fluctuations on the pricing aspect point of view, we had a lot of problems trying to match the price, and that created a delay on the payments, and that created also a dissatisfaction from the suppliers. If you don't have a true visibility of the POs, and you cannot confirm that those are valid, you're running MRP with false expectations. So we wanted to make sure, if we wanted to improve service, that the POs were confirmed, that we knew what was happening, and that we could confirm to the warehouse and to production that things were going to happen, that the material was going to arrive, and that they could continue with the production schedule.
Yeah, critical, right? So just a ton of manual process, a lot of scrambling around, no real standard operating procedure. So can you talk to us how that old school method was really modernized and changed when you implemented SourceDay, and what are some of your favorite capabilities that your team is able to take advantage of?
So after implementing SourceDay and having the direct relationship between our company and the suppliers, we will able to reduce all the time that we were spending chasing POs and chasing suppliers to confirm the receipt of the PO. Also, we were making sure that the prices were correct, that the due date that we were requesting was something that could be met by the suppliers. So what is happening is at the end of the creation of the PO, within the next 15 minutes, Epicor takes that information and sends the information to the supplier. to the supply. The supplier can go to a portal or can go through, can look at an email coming from SourceDay, look at the PO, look at the main pieces, the price, the date, and the quantity. Verify those three pieces of information, and then respond back to us saying, yes, I accept the order, or no, you need to apply these changes. And after negotiating that, confirming the PO, and we don't have to go to Epicor to check the PO as confirmed. It is SourceDay automatically that does that task for us. So that is giving us more time to really do a better job in the planning process and the MRP process, instead of chasing activities that do not add value to the overall process.
Amazing, right? Getting you out of that administrative work, getting you into the ability to be proactive. So it sounds like a lot of manual work became automated, a lot of kind of tedious work became automated. Can you talk to us what your team has been able to do with that time back in their day and their week that's able to drive the business?
So MRP, since we have a large number of parts involved, it requires a little more time getting into the supply demand situation. So not having to chase POs gave us the opportunity to deep down on the results of MRP, understand what MRP was telling us, check the information in time phase, and then decide whether or not, if we needed more orders, the quantity and the date that those orders needed to have. Also, not only is this time was needed for PO creation, but also PO changes suggested by MRP. So we had the chance to spend a little more time doing that and move things around, mainly basically due dates, to try to have the correct material at the right time. Before this new era, we had tons of orders. We had a backlog that went 18 months out. So if we didn't have one material, the plan or production could go to a different order and then start producing the orders. We decided that we wanted to have a firm frozen schedule, and that we as a company, we needed to commit to have the materials ready for the production area to follow a specific sequence of production. Because of that, we started having better and better service results, and what that created was for the customers to see, you know what, time is improving, time is delivering on time. So this may not be the correct demand, so let me adjust my demand to exactly my needs on dates. So that created an adjustment on the order book that we have, that reduced our visibility of demand to instead of the next 18 months to the next 6 months. And that forces us to be even more precise on the planning process, on getting the material ready, and then production following a specific production plan.
So able to service your customers better, be more accurate, right? Be a better supplier to your customers, which hopefully, right, we're all striving to be that. Let's talk about on-time delivery. You know, SourceDay really prides itself in on-time delivery metrics, and all of our customers experiencing improvement. Can you talk to us about how times on-time delivery with your suppliers improved, and what you think has attributed to that success?
Having a more direct relationship with the suppliers has helped us a lot, because they know that we have their confirmation. They know also that we're expecting material at the specific point in time. We have tools from SourceDay that alert me and alert the suppliers of anything that is coming within the next 1 or 2 weeks, and give us the opportunity if something is needed to adjust our delivery dates and adjust our production schedule based on that. So we have a better visibility of what is coming. We have a better visibility of the shipments from the supplier to us, and that is a very good tool for us in front of production to confirm the delivery of material for them to be sure that they can follow a specific production plan.
Yeah, and we're going to talk more about production plans, but absolutely on-time delivery, being able to tighten up production plans, give visibility to your customers. And, you mentioned, right, reducing customer cycle times down from 18 months to 6 months, and how on-time delivery fits in there. Raul, last question here is, one of the big reasons that Epicor wanted to partner with SourceDay, I mentioned, is our ability to help with supplier adoption and supplier engagement. Can you talk to us about what that's looked like with your site and your organization, as far as the % of suppliers using SourceDay and kind of how that support has been with SourceDay?
Very good. So I would say that 80% of our suppliers, that will be, I don't know, maybe about 300 suppliers are connected to us through SourceDay. We have the initiative of increasing this number more and more. We want to reach at least 95%, because that will translate that into a more efficiency in our purchasing group. There is no cost for the suppliers, so they know that if they participate with us, if they want to be part of this process, it is not adding any cost to them, but it is adding the ability to communicate better to us. And I'm going to give you a very funny example of the level of participation. There have been suppliers calling me saying, Raul, your warehouse is taking more than 24 hours to put the inventory in your system, and that is creating a 1-day delay on the receiving process, and that is affecting my service level in SourceDay. I want to be 100% accurate on time in my delivery. So please ask your warehouse to be receiving on a real-time basis. So what that tells me is that the suppliers are going into SourceDay, are looking at the orders, are looking at how we're receiving, and are following exactly the service index that SourceDay has, and for them it is very important for them to reach some kind of a higher service index.
That's great. It's really a great story, and actually, right, how SourceDay can help improve relationships with suppliers and giving everyone very clear visibility into performance. That's great, and love that. Right, suppliers right want to perform. They want to serve your customers. So we'll also talk about how SourceDay is able to engage with suppliers in many different ways to help with that adoption piece.
The other very quickly, the other example is balances on POs or balances on PO lines. Before, you maybe create an order for 100 pieces, the supplier only delivered 98, and you kept the balance of the two forever. Now there is a way, and the suppliers are following that, and the suppliers are requesting an adjustment of the quantity from 100 to 90 days, so they can close the order from our side and from their side, so they can always know more about that PO.
That's actually a great shift into this next slide about MRP accuracy and so much change that's happening. So you mentioned MRP a lot. Hopefully most everyone on here is using MRP or wanting to use it or get better, more strategic with it. Can you talk about how SourceDay has really helped with MRP accuracy and manage all of those change, like you just mentioned, right? Getting quantities and dates correct throughout the years on our solution.
So even though we're trying to strive to a 60 to 90-day frozen schedule, there are a lot of changes that happen from week to week, sometimes from day to day. So the ability for the purchasing team to look at the recommendations from MRP and act on them drives a lot of work, manual work, if we didn't have SourceDay. Contacting the suppliers, can you change the date from the 1st to the 15th? Can you change the date from the 30th to the 15th? Something like that. So the ability to analyze the information, the ability to make those requests of changes through SourceDay, that give us the ability to react fast and make sure that the information that is in the ERP is correct, and we can count on that for production purposes. So we follow very closely the past due POs. We follow very closely the POs that are due in the next 2 to 4 weeks, so we can confirm them. And if there is any past due PO, we reach out to through the system or through the software. We reach out to the suppliers to make sure that we always have the up-to-date date and the system.
And specifically calling out the 90,000 PO changes over 2023 and 2024, talking about that old school method, right, of managing orders. The risk that puts on MRP accuracy when you have dates wrong and quantities wrong, and the inability to hit those production schedules. So let's talk about production, right? Certainly for you, anyone in supply chain and procurement, hitting production goals, production capacity is probably the number one job, right? Number one priority. So you mentioned this a lot. What are your production targets, and how has SourceDay, help those keep on track?
Yeah. So the company invested a lot of time in putting together processes around production and within production in such a way that we could level out the production day by day, week by week. So back in October of last year, we set a target month by month to have a specific number of machines being built on a daily basis. In order to guarantee that, the inventory piece was very critical, because if we had a shortage, or if we had a lack of inventory, that was going to be affecting not only that day of production, but the following days. So we as a company, we decided that we needed to be very strict. We had a lot of effort within our purchasing team to do a better job planning, requesting new POs, changing existing POs, and get that communication going between our company and the suppliers. We were able to start like maybe at 85% production attainment, and in the last 6 months, we are up to 98%. What that means is that if we are setting a goal to produce 10 machines every day, we're reaching 10 machines every day in 98% of the cases. If we do not reach that 98%, there is a root cause analysis that takes place, and if there is something about suppliers, we analyze if the supplier is within a SourceDay or not, and if it is not, we push towards getting the suppliers in SourceDay.
That's amazing, right? 98% production attainment, 10 machines a day, so impressive. Let me ask you in regards to business impacts, right? Having that 98% monthly attainment, what has that meant to your business, right? How has that KPIs really affected your organization from a financial or monetary standpoint?
I would say that the main driver is sales or earnings, because we can be, if we have a full backlog where we can select from any supplier, any customer, anytime, and produce something, we may be producing a lot for inventory, and we may not be producing things that are needed right now. So our target is that what we are producing, at least more than 95% of the production leaves during that specific month. So in order for us to do that, we need to make sure that the material is on time so production can produce and shipments can be done on a timely basis. So it is basically the earning KPI, the one that drives all this synchronicity between purchasing and production.
It's amazing, right? All about reducing risk to your customer orders, right? Maintaining customers, hitting those sales targets. One thing we had talked about is, catching up on the weekends, paying overtime. Is there also eliminated expense that y'all have been able to see as well?
Yes.
by having, again, more on-time delivery and these production lines running more efficiently?
I think starting like in February of this year, we almost completely eliminated production Saturdays. We have never produced on Sundays, but on Saturdays we used to produce almost every week, or at least 3 weeks of the month. In this case, the shop floor is closed Friday evening, and we do not start operations until Monday morning.
That's amazing. Well, huge congratulations on the successful supply chain. Huge congratulations on your ability to keep these production lines up. And I know we just have a couple minutes left, so I'm going to quickly review just a little bit about the flows and how SourceDay works. So the problem that you all are managing, that Raul's been talking about, right, is the disconnect between your entire direct spend supplier network and Epicor. And you're having to use emails, spreadsheets, and phone calls to manage all these open orders and changes. And that is the risk, right? That old school method that Raul was talking about. And the reason why Epicor partnered with us was to bridge that gap, bring suppliers into the fold, and ensure that every line and every release is managed from creation in Epicor until goods receipt in Epicor. And I want to make sure you all know that there's no change in the way you use Epicor. You use MRP for PO suggestions, change suggestions, no change there. We're picking up where Epicor stops with automation to ensure that those manual processes are automated to focus on all the strategic work that Raul was talking about. And lastly, right, that supplier adoption piece and engagement we talked about, we don't make suppliers use a portal. As you can see over here on the right, we give them any engagement option they want to work with you on your orders. It can be a portal, it can be email, it can be API, it can be EDI. We're about to release document ingestion so we can read PDFs coming from suppliers. The point is we meet them where they're at in their technology journey to ensure that they use the solution. And this is a big reason why Epicor partnered with us and why our clients like Time are extremely successful. So I know we're right at time here. I know there have been a few questions coming in that Lisa's been answering. There is one in here that we have about ITAR. So we do have ITAR customers. And for ITAR customers, we have them use any sort of secure method for sharing their documents outside of SourceDay. So we're not hosted on GovCloud. However you're sharing your drawings or schematics, things like that, we recommend sharing those drawings how you are today. And SourceDay is your solution to manage dates, quantity, price, and all of those orders. So happy to talk to you more about how our clients are doing that today that are ITAR. We have a question here about, is it a native integration with Epicor? So we have a validated integration with Epicor. It is validated by Epicor as an official ISV partner of Epicor. Our API integration has been validated by them, tested by them, and we have a certification. So we've been doing this for more than 6 years with Epicor clients. We have a tried and true validated by Epicor integration. And again, happy to talk to you more about how that integration works. But just so you know, from an IT perspective, it's about a 9-week job from start to finish. So we're not talking about, 6-month project. Start to finish, we have you up and running in 9 weeks. Any other questions that anyone has? Drop them in. I know we're a minute over, so I want to be respectful of everyone's day. So if anyone has any additional questions, please drop them in. Raul and I will hang on for a couple more minutes. Let's see here. Raul, question for you here around support. Can you just talk about how it's been working with SourceDay, just in regards to support when things do come up, when you need help or your suppliers need help, how support's been from SourceDay?
So I have a support manager from SourceDay that is available for me every single day, every single time I have a problem. So when somebody from a purchasing team has some kind of a question or some kind of an issue, they report that to me, and I reach out to the support manager, and I get an answer within maybe half an hour. If it is a technical or very technical matter, the support manager contacts somebody within the technical group in SourceDay, communicated me of that communication, and that person will contact me. We will go and do some testing or changes up until the request is 100% solved. I'm very happy with the service because every time that I reach out, I receive an answer within less than 1 hour. And all my questions, all my issues are resolved within the next maybe 2 or 3 days at the most.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Raul. We had a question. It works well with Epicor Cloud. Absolutely. We support Epicor Cloud as well as every on-prem version back through 9. So no issues there. We have experience with all of those versions, cloud and on-prem back through 9. You will also receive a recap of this webinar. So there'll be a recording that is sent out to everybody. And if you have any questions or want additional information about SourceDay, how we can help your business, please reach out to me, colby.young@sourceday.com. Happy to set up time to introduce you to the product in more detail, learn more about your business. We had another question come in. Again, we're happy to hang on here. Is there a clean PO approval workflow in SourceDay? Great question. So PO approval workflows, we recommend you set up in Epicor, right? So as folks create purchase orders, Epicor has a great approval process in its ERP, and SourceDay picks them up when they're in an approved status. Those come into SourceDay, and then those workflows start. Now, supplier changes that come in our solution back from suppliers to you, absolutely, your buyers are responsible for reviewing and approving those before we write anything back into Epicor to update those purchase order records. But as far as initial PO approval, that should be an Epicor workflow, and someone in your IT department, or I could hook you up with someone at Epicor to help you set that up. All right. I did see a question in here about on-time delivery and delays in receiving. Raul mentioned that. So in SourceDay's supplier scorecard, you are able to give a buffer for receiving. So let's just say it's standard operating procedure. It takes you 48 hours to receive. You can give suppliers a 48-hour buffer. So if they're delivering on the date they said, but you're receiving late, you're able to adjust that in the settings of our scorecard to make sure that that scorecard is more accurate and your suppliers aren't getting dinged for delivering on time, but you have a delay in that actual receipt transaction, because we are reading those receipts for scorecarding purposes. So anyone who might be ISO certified that needs that supplier scorecard, we're going to help you there and give you a auditable scorecard for that.
In our case, we have -7 days plus 3 days.
Perfect. So what he's saying there is anything received 7 days early to 3 days late counts as on time for time, and we're monitoring that. And so you have the flexibility to set your scorecard however you want with whatever range for on-time delivery. All right. Well, really great questions. Thank you all for being on. I know we're 6 minutes over. Want to be respectful of everyone's busy day. So, looks like we have another question. Again, we're happy to hang on and answering them. You mentioned different dates you can use. So the arrival date would be what we would need, as sometimes our POs can't take many days depending on extent of, yeah. So we are monitoring any date that you need to be managing with your supplier. So typically it's arrival date, right? When did it arrive on your docks as the expectation you have with your supplier? And that is a date that you can make critical with your supplier and what we're going to be monitoring for on-time delivery. We also can monitor ship dates. So let's say you have Incoterms of FOB origin and they're responsible for shipment. Well, we can monitor advanced shipping notice dates, when did it ship, and grade them on the ship date as opposed to receipt date. So it's up to you in the settings by supplier, highly configurable for the use case that you need for your business. So Allison, happy to talk to you more about that. All right, great questions. Thank you all for being on. Again, let's give it maybe another minute to see if any other ones come in. But thank you for joining us today, Raul. Thank you so much for your time, providing everyone with your expertise and your experience using Epicor and SourceDay. You will get a recording of this. Please reach out, colby.young@sourceday.com. If you want to learn more about our solution, let us learn more about your business. Now we can bring some of these same results to you in 2026. All right, Raul, appreciate you. Thank you. Have a good one. Thanks, everybody.
You too. Thanks.